What in the world is going on in Iran? What's happening with the Jews in Iran? We have our favorite Muslim convert to Judaism, William, who, by the way, you should follow him on X. We'll drop it down below if you haven't yet. And let's just get right into it. Of course, thanks to our sponsors of this week's episode, PZ Deals, and of course, Wheels to Lease. Here we go. William, thank you
Hello.
for being back here.
Of course.
For those who don't have the luxury or haven't seen the full episode about who you are, can you give them a little bit about who you are?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you very much for having me. This is, I think, the third time that I'm on your
First
show.
guest to be here
I think
three
so. It's an
times.
honor. It's truly a pleasure to be here. My name is William Marvars. I was born and raised in the Islamic Republic of Iran into a Muslim family. When I was a teenager, I discovered Judaism, went through a lot, and decided that I wanted to be Jewish. Eventually, by the age of 24, I moved out of Iran, went to IU, converted to Judaism, got married, have two kids, and here we are now.
Wow. Okay. So could you tell us what's been going on in Iran in the past 2 weeks?
Right. If you've been paying attention to social media or anything else, you know that something's going on for the past 2 weeks, as you mentioned, in Iran. Usually, with these things, protests erupt due to economic hurdles and difficulties that the Islamic regime has inflicted upon the people. And then eventually they morph into more anti regime uprisings and protests. In this particular case, this uprising ended in bloodbath, and it has been 2 weeks of continuous protests, government crackdowns on them, and lots of casualties.
I don't exactly know how long, but in the past few days, maybe longer, the regime shut down the internet.
Right. This is not the first time that they've done something like this. In the past, in 2022 and 2017, the 2019, I'm sorry, the protests, they also shut down internet for a very short period of time. This time around, it's been almost 2 weeks that the internet has been shut down. And it's a little bit different. In those two cases that I mentioned, 2019 and 2022, they shut down the internet for 3 days and they caused a lot of destruction and killed a lot of people. This time around, it's not just internet shutdown. The internet has been shut down, so things don't get out of the country. We can't communicate with people inside the country, but also landlines are down. Also, cell phones are down. So the regime certainly doesn't want people to communicate with each other and doesn't want things to get out of the country. So whatever it is that they're doing.
Can you give us an understanding the mindset? And again, you're not there anymore, but you kind
Mhm.
of grew up with it. What are the Iranians most afraid of right now?
I think right now, at this instance, Iranians who are in the streets protesting to gain their freedom are afraid that one, that the regime is going to crack down so hard on them that all their hopes is going to be lost. That's going to be devastating. Already the casualties are high. There's going to be even more devastating losses and executions and arrests and so on and so forth. But the most scary thing to them and to a lot of people in the diaspora is if the regime gets away with this from a different angle. And that will be the regime morphs into some form of reformed version of itself that maintains power, maintains control, and continues to oppress people, but at least makes the case of human rights abuse moot to the international community so they can just be like, oh, that's it. This is it. This is over. You can do whatever you want to do. So I think that's the most scary thing to Iranians.
You mentioned before that the internet. I did see online on X that Elon Musk was sending over Starlink,
Mhm.
but we haven't really seen people on internet. Like, why hasn't that worked out?
I think the Starlink case was that certain human rights groups and activists were trying to, prior to all of this, were trying to send Starlink devices into the country so that Iranians who want to be active in their communities were able to provide in these cases, in instances where internet is going to be shut down, so those people could provide for internet access in their communities and in their surroundings, or at least be a source of information coming out of Iran. We have learned that that has not been an extensive amount. We don't know exactly how many. So it's not a huge number of Starlink devices so that we can get coverage across the country. And most importantly, the regime has discovered that they can either jam them or they have drones that circle around in cities and they can surveil rooftops because Starlink devices, you have to have them facing the sky and they can find them and knock on doors, raid the homes, arrest people, and grab them.
For those outside who want to help, what
Mhm.
what is the best form of support that they could do?
I don't think there's any material support right now that we can provide to them. Unfortunately, a lot that we can do is demonstrations, writing to people who are policymakers, and it's important to them to support the Iranian people both in spirit and in action. And we have seen that the current administration has been very much active in supporting the Iranian people on social media, at least. We haven't seen action yet, but both the president and as well as Elon Musk and other figures from both parties, mostly Republican Party, have been very, very supportive of the Iranian people.
I saw before the internet went down there with
Sure.
the them renaming the street for
Right.
Trump, right?
So before the internet went down, Iranians were probably seeing en masse the messages of support from President Trump saying, "We support you. Help us on the way. Go out to the streets and protests." Same as Elon Musk, who was trolling the Ayatollah on Twitter, saying in Farsi, "Zehi khiyal batel," oh, in your dreams that you can be successful and victorious. So Iranians started renaming streets with stickers where for after Donald Trump, President Trump Street, President Trump Avenue, and so on and so forth. And they would send those videos out as a token of appreciation to President Trump for supporting the Iranian people. And they would chant those trolling tweets from Elon Musk at the protests.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's the power of social media.
Yeah, that's really incredible. It's scary to think what would have happened if X wasn't bought by Elon Musk.
Exactly.
So thank you, Elon Musk, for buying it.
Thank you.
And in regards to the United Nations, what has been said, what has been done from that perspective?
So United Nations had a session where two Iranian activists, Masih Alinejad and Ahmad Batabi, both spoke to member states about the atrocities committed by the Islamic regime, not just to themselves. They just gave anecdotes of great direct examples of how the regime has treated them. The regime has attempted to assassinate this Masih Alinejad, this woman in the US, in Brooklyn, here in New York, at least twice. And that's a scary thought. So she spoke about that. And Ahmad Batabi was in the protests many, many years ago, and he was arrested and tortured until he was able to flee the country. He spoke about that. And I think their voice was an important thing in this dialogue, that they were able to speak directly to the Iranian diplomat that was sitting across the table from them. And that was, I think, very powerful. It's going to go a long way.
We'll be right back to this week's episode. But first, do you want to be at every Amazon glitch, price mistake, and insane deal? When you enable push notifications on the PZ Deals app, you'll get real time alerts the moment those price drops hit before they disappear. And whether it's a reclining sofa for half off, an electric skillet at a crazy low price, or a KidCraft kitchen that sells out in minutes, PZ Deals brings it straight to your phone. And these aren't just random items, they're practical, popular, and deeply discounted. No more scrolling for hours or paying full price. With PZ Deals, you get what you need, save a ton, and stay ahead of the crowd. Download the app now and turn on notifications. Your wallet will thank you. With PZ Deals, you'll never pay full price again. Wheels at Least actually has the best prices. What do you think we're doing at Living L'Chaim? We're not just promoting like just a random car place. This is the best. And that's the truth. They literally have the best prices. And if you're watching this, you can see on the screen all their January specials. It's not in your budget. You want something less. Okay, let's say you have $300 to spend. Boom. For $289, $0 down, a 2026 Nissan Rogue AWD SV. Again, this is $0 down. A lot of places are like, yeah, we have the best prices. And then it's like, oh, just put down $5,000. Shkoyach, thank you. Literally, they have the best prices when it comes to cars. Hurry. These January deals are soon over. But the truth is, when it comes to getting the best deal, Wheels Lease is always having new deals every single month. So reach out to them. That's 718-871-8715. Send them an email, inspire@wheelslease.com. Go to the website, wheelslease.com/inspire, or directly WhatsApp Saul, and the link down below in the show notes. The Jews in Iran,
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how many there are.
About 10 to 15,000.
Okay,
Is the
very
estimates,
little
yeah.
amount,
Very little amount.
but for the Jewish population, that's
Right.
a lot for us. Do you have any word in like how it's going for them as things have been shaken up in the country?
Right. Unfortunately, we don't know much since the war in June, the 12-day war. We don't have a lot of information about what's going on inside the country as well as within the Jewish community. That's the sad part. It's a black box.
Could you tell us from your knowledge about the casualties? What are the numbers? What are the estimated numbers and
Mhm.
things like that?
There are very much contradicting numbers, of course, within the regime. Some officials deny it. Some officials, Khamenei himself mentioned that there are thousands killed. And then Araghchi, he's the foreign minister, and came up and said, no, there were only hundreds. But according to independent organizations and human rights groups, who have reviewed the footage, the horrific footage that is coming out of Iran, even bits of it that comes out. It's estimated that about 3,000 people have already been confirmed killed, and there's another 4,000 that is pending. They're trying to verify whether or not that's that. So the total of close to 10,000 killed already in a very short span of time. And we're not talking about the whole 2 weeks. This is in the past few days that the regime has killed that many people. On top of that, compounded with at least 20,000 confirmed detained people.
Compare that to like the what happened in the 80s.
You're bringing up a good thing. In the 80s, for the audience who don't know, in 1988, in the summer of 1988, the prisons were full in the Islamic Republic, and a committee was formed by the Ayatollah who decided we need to empty the prisons. And the only way they could empty the prisons was by executing them arbitrarily, without due process, without any trial. And it is also estimated that about 5,000 political prisoners, most of them leftists, socialists, communists, so on and so forth, were executed in a very short span of, I think, 3 or 4 months of time. So the scary part about those 20,000 people who have been detained right now is that their fate might end up being the same.
That is very sad to
Very
think.
scary.
It's so ironic, we heard for the past 2 years, the world and Europe and not wise people in America complaining about the Free Palestine movement,
Right.
and what's going on now
The
seems
streets are empty.
it's you don't hear any of them, and you contrast also like the deaths that happened. While they were still hostages, and IDF was trying to save them, and how obviously the numbers weren't even real. But even if the numbers were real, like it doesn't even compare to the actual numbers going on here.
Correct.
And you don't hear like what's the difference? Why don't we hear those people who clearly love people, but now all of a
Mhm,
sudden they
mhm.
don't love Iranians? Like,
Right.
what's going on?
You're poking a very, very, very good bear. And that's, I think, because the Iranian people are not aligned with them in the sense that they want them to be aligned with. The pro Pali movement, whatever you want to call it, they're not necessarily pro Palestine. I think they are very much anti America, anti West, and in their own words, anti imperialist. If the Iranian people inside Iran are naming streets after Donald Trump, chanting chants in support of Elon Musk and using Elon Musk's technology, then I don't think they would be able to support them because they're not anti imperialist. They're supporting this American imperialism in their sense. So they wouldn't care. And it's not necessarily the human life that they care about. They care about the destruction of the West. I'm talking about the pro Pali people.
That is very sad, and
It
I was
is
telling you off camera.
hypocritical.
It's like I think the best thing the enemies of America could do is bring the destruction from within. Having the
Hmm.
Americans themselves hate the unity. I mean, we see this with the Jewish people, right? When there's
Right.
unity, it's very hard to mess with the Jewish people.
Very united,
When
very
you
strong.
know,
Yeah.
same thing with America. So that is crazy. I'm curious, you personally, how are you doing? Because you still have so many family and
Right.
friends from the past in Iran.
Thank you very much. Thank you for asking that. I am doing okay now. It was a little bit rough last week, so I had to like shut off things and not watch the news. The footage, as I mentioned, it was horrific coming out. I don't mean to compare this to October 7th, but the images were so similar. In October 7th, we saw pickup trucks with jihadis in the back riding with AK-47s, and the same images we can see coming out of Iran, jihadis on pickup trucks with headbands and AK-47s shooting unarmed protesters. So I had to shut off the internet. On one hand, I am very excited that at this prospect of freedom and hope that we are going to be a free people, that Iran is going to be free. And I'm very glad to see my compatriots who are Gen Z. Gen Z is so brave and courageous. I'm so glad to see that. But on the other hand, I'm also very upset as this devastating loss that the regime is inflicting. Nobody can blame anybody else except for the regime and the Ayatollah Khamenei himself. It's his fault. It's nobody else's.
How many years ago did you leave Iran?
Almost 10 years ago.
In those past 10 years, have you contacted your family or friends?
No, I have not contacted my family in the past 10 years.
Has it changed in the past week or two?
Last week, I was very, very sad. I haven't seen my youngest brother. Actually, in the first episode that we had together, it was last year, I mentioned that I miss my brother. He was 9 years old when I left, and he is 19 now. So after 10 years, I decided that maybe I should try to call him to see where he is, what he's doing. And unfortunately, because of internet shutdown, lines being cut, and everything, I was unable to contact him. So I can only hope that he's fine and I can see him again one day.
I hope you get reunited, and I hope that there's only good news that
Amen,
we'll hear
amen,
from
amen.
Iran and all the evil gets totally destroyed.
The next podcast should be in Hamadan at the tomb of Esther and Mordechai. We should do that.
Okay, yes,
Okay, that would be the fourth time, and I'm going to
Yes.
call on this podcast. We're going to do that. Okay.
That is a fun idea, and I love it.
Okay.
And yes, Rich, I'll be around Purim.
Amen.
Love it.
Amen.
So speaking about the evil for the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, by the way, you told me off camera that the KH makes the ch sound.
Correct.
Okay, did not know that. But like he's known as one of the biggest villains in the world right now.
Right.
I know there's not much internet there, but I'm sure he and all those other evildoers have internet. What's your message for him?
Right. Since him and his thugs are the only ones with internet connection and are going to see this episode, I'm glad you're watching this because I want to say it in English first. Go to Gehenna. So, Mushali Burba Jahannam.
Okay, there you go. William,
That's my message to them.
Yeah, I hope to see only good news very soon.
Amen.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm your Iran guy now.
Yeah, yes, and Chazaka's 3 times. So, Mitch Shem Perm time
Amen.
will have you
Bezat
back.
Hashem. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We understand that this episode is very timely. So in the comments, let us know what you know about what's going on in Iran. I know there's a lot of reports, a lot of ideas, but we want to know what is actually going on. We know, I was talking to William off camera jokingly that on Purim, there's always videos going around of the Jewish community, because Persia and Purim, but we want to see peace there. We want to see for the entire country. And like I told William, maybe we'll do his 4th episode by the kever of Mordechai and Esther. If you haven't yet subscribed to our podcast, please do. We get to do so much more the more subscribers we have. So whether it's Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, thank you so much for coming on this journey with us. Always remember, inspirations everywhere. L'chaim.
Living L'chaim.